Hi, Jess here. Thanks so much for joining me for this 20-minute yoga sequence for great sleep. We're going to get started sitting down on our mat or the floor. I want you to locate your sits bones, those pointy bones in the bottom of your hips, and root them down into the floor. This can be tricky sometimes if you have low back pain or other stuff going on. So go ahead and grab a block if you want to experiment with that. If you don't have a block at home, you can try a book or a bolster or pillow. Whatever surface that you're sitting on, just feel like you're really rooting down so you can inhale the arms up to your tallest spine. And then exhale, hinge forward from your hips. You can see I'm pulling my toes up toward my knees, engaging the tops of the thighs a little bit to get a deeper stretch through the back line. Even if you can't touch your toes, no problem. You can be anywhere up higher on the shins with your hands, or if you have a belt of any kind at home, you can wrap it around your feet and then hold on to the belt to get that nice deep stretch in the back of your legs. Wherever you're at, just settle in here. We're going to stay in this stretch for a couple of minutes. So if you want to go a little deeper, allow yourself to take some deep breaths. Every time that you exhale, just folding a little more gently toward your thighs. It's okay to round through the back here in this yin style practice. So kind of visualize just humbly bowing to your day, opening up the back of your heart and beginning to melt into yourself as you wind down. Notice your breathing, taking long and slow and deep breaths for the remainder of your time on the mat, really just signaling to your nervous system that it's time to slow down. And when you're ready, you can gently crawl back upright, crown of the head over your tailbone. Plant your feet, give yourself some gentle counter stretches, something that feels good. And then transition into your tabletop position on your hands and your knees. Again, just wiggling out a little bit. Stacking wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then as you inhale, tuck your toes and arch your back. As you exhale, press the tops of the feet down and round, round, round up. Inhale, toes tuck, heart reaches, tail lifts, gaze lifts. And then exhale, tops of the feet down, rounding the back of the heart to the ceiling. We're going to do this for a couple more minutes. So as you inhale, think about expanding through the sides of your rib cage, moving into spinal extension. And when you exhale, think about everything squeezing in toward your heart. It's like your navel wants to sneak up under the rib cage and touch your heart. These movements can be really big. They can be very subtle. There's no reason to over-express yourself here, and there's no reason to hold back. Just be uniquely you, uniquely what your body wants and needs in this moment. It might not be the same as the last time that you did this movement, and that's okay. Give yourself the freedom to acknowledge exactly how you're showing up today. And let this translate not only in your body, but into your mind, into your spirits. Separate your knees, bring your big toes together to touch. And we're going to next melt forward into Balasana or child's pose. You may know this one. So you can use a bolster or couch cushion pillow if you have one at home underneath your belly. Or if you're someone whose hips tend to rest really high and it's painful or uncomfortable to sink your hips back to your heels, go ahead and tuck that prop behind the thighs and grab something for your forehead so that you can feel really supported and get the stretch through the spine without creating any additional discomfort. You can play with the props in a variety of different ways. So here I'm showing 2 blocks, one for the forehead, one for the heart, and hands resting back by my heels. So pick a posture, pick a prop that appropriately supports you in the exact way that you need right now, and then settle into your child's pose. So much going on here. Hip stretching, tailbone pulling back toward the wall behind you. Forehead connected, pressing right into the middle of your forehead, either to the floor, block, or something else. Reminding you of the validity of your intuition, whatever you've perceived internally, that inner knowing that you know throughout the day and in this moment. Go ahead and crawl yourself back upright, taking a moment to notice what you notice from your winding down practice thus far. Next, we'll transition to legs up the wall. So take a second and find some space, if you have, in your home, an area where you can actually rest your legs up the wall. If not, it's perfectly fine to lie on your mat and place a prop under the small of your back and float the legs up. If you're coming to legs up the wall, you're going to bring one hip directly to the wall. Here I have a bolster under my hips, facing the side, and then swing your legs up as you lean back. So you can see you have to negotiate some space here. Make sure that you find the perfect position for your body here to feel really supported. So your sits bones may not be pressing against the wall, but your heels are resting against the wall. The benefit of having the bolster under the hips is it turns this into an inversion pose. So it just helps to kind of reverse the flow of fluids and energy in your body, which can be really nourishing to your digestive system. In turn, your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest. So great thing to do right before bed. See if you can relax your lower half completely. We have this urge to kind of muscle this shape, but let it be restful. Just let your thigh bones sink into the hip sockets. Feel the support of the air around you, the surfaces that your body is touching. See if you can relax a little bit more. This pose will also help to eliminate any swelling and fatigue in your lower extremities. Remember to breathe slow and deep. And remember to ensure that you're comfortable and not too stimulated. Resting here for a little while. See if you can start to slip into that space between waking and sleeping. We'll start to gently release the pose. You can bend your knees and bring your feet to the wall, and then roll to one side or the other. And press yourself up, moving away from the wall. If you had your legs floating and Viparita Karani on the mat, you can bend the knees, plant the feet, pluck the prop out. And then everybody, let's come to lie on our back, feet planted, knees up, one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Notice how you feel. And we'll transition to a supine twist. So arms open, knees tuck in toward the chest. Big breath in. And as you breathe out, knees lower to the right side. Press into the back of your head to open the chest a little bit more. Then snuggle back down to the mat. Option to turn your head to the left. Keep pressing the middle of your heart up toward the ceiling. If you need some support, you can place a block or a bolster underneath your knees or between your knees, underneath your top foot. You could also slide a blanket or a pillow underneath your shoulders if both of your shoulder blades aren't comfortably connecting to the floor. Breathe into the mid-back here, where you may be feeling some nourishment from the twist. Begin to transition here, gazing up toward the ceiling, bringing head to neutral and breathe. And on an exhale, floating those knees up, planting the feet, lifting the hips to rebalance the pelvis and swaying side to side for a moment. Maybe come into a full body stretch. Notice what you notice. And then we'll transition to that supine twist on the opposite side. So knees can hug in, arms to a T. As you exhale, spill your knees to the left side. Press into the head, open the heart. Option to roll head to the right. Breathing deeply. Resting deeply. Transitioning out of your twist, bringing the head to neutral, knees up, and taking whatever counter stretch your body needs. Next, we'll come to reclined bound angle pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. So very easy transition here. Bring your foot soles together to touch and knees open wide. You're welcome to put some support outside of the knees. Even if you think you don't need it, I encourage you to give it a try to avoid any overstrain in your hips. Any arm position works. You could have your hands down by your hips, overhead. I like to reach the arms overhead and bring my fingers to touch somewhere, and I often visualize an energetic loop like an infinity symbol as I'm breathing in and out of my body. You could bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly. You could bring your hands into Gyan Mudra, index and thumb together. Rest the backs of the hands on your hip flexors, palms facing up. Experiment with different arm positions on different days. And just land with whatever resonates with you. Nothing has to be exactly the same as it was another time. Feel the connection of your feet together. Heels can be close to your body or far away, it doesn't matter. Benefits to both. Feel your low back connected to the floor. There could be a slight lift, but no arch in the back. Feel space in the back of your neck. Make sure that your hair is not in the way. Make sure that your chin's not sticking straight up to the ceiling, overextending through the neck. And just rest here. Neutral spine, open pelvis. And we'll counter this stretch, gently bringing the knees together to touch heel toe your feet to the edges of the mat. Knock your knees together and press the back down. This should feel really good. If it doesn't, try something else. You can wiggle around a little bit more. You could windshield wiper legs side to side, big or small. And we're going to set ourselves up for a really juicy Savasana here. So if you have the props, grab a bolster and place it under your thighs, one block under each heel. If you have a blanket handy or a pillow, you can put that under your head. If you don't have any props and lying on your back is comfortable for you, just come to lie with your heels as wide as the mat. Relax your hips so your toes turn out to the side. If you prefer to rest in seated or on your belly or on your side, please do that. I'll invite you to stay here in this restful state as long as you possibly can. We'll be here for a few minutes together. But as I close the practice, if you're able to drift off, please do so. Close your eyes if you're not there already. Relax the space between the eyebrows. Relax your temples. Relax your scalp and your jaw. Let the tongue float freely in the mouth. Relax your throat and your heart. Relax your shoulders. Soften the belly. Relax your hips and your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your shins and your ankles. Relax your feet and your toes. Relax your breathing, allowing the breath to become long and slow, breathing into your whole body and breathing out of your whole body. Relaxing everything, everywhere, and finding that space where your body meets your soul. If available, continue to rest. And if it's time to transition, bend your knees and plant your feet. Sweep your arms overhead, full body stretch. And then lazily roll to one side or the other, using your arm like a pillow. Checking in with yourself here before gently floating up to a comfortable seat. Bringing hands together to touch, reminding you of the balance that already exists inside of you. Sat Nam. Namaste.